abundance of architectural masterpiece here.
Can never go wrong with fries.
Yeah, that's a funny, cool fact that is associated with this castle.
Did you get it on video?
55, 56, 57. How do I increase my list of visited countries in a short period of time? Hello beautiful people, I'm in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Let me tell you a story. For the longest time I had this dream to do a road trip across Europe. And the goal of this road trip will be hitting one of the smallest countries in Europe. We'll start with Luxembourg, go to Liechtenstein, go to San Marino, Monaco, and finish our trip in Andorra. I'm super excited about the challenge. I have 15 days to cover about 4,000 kilometers and show you everything in between. Also on this trip, I'm bringing my little helper who's supposed to make this trip more exciting. So stay tuned, and there's a lot of tasty stuff coming your way. Without further ado, let's go. Good old Amsterdam is the city of many wonders. With its canals, bridges, and narrow cobblestone streets, it is a city like no other. Its rich culture and history are evident in its architecture, which dates back centuries. Amsterdam is a city filled with life and energy, and as a result has been a favorite destination for many tourists from all around the world. The canals are perhaps the most iconic feature here, as they historically served as means of transportation and today a perfect way to explore the city. The canals are lined with iconic narrow houses, and it is a great way to get a feeling for Amsterdam's golden age past. Speaking of means of transportation, the city and especially its historic center are not vehicle-friendly. Amsterdam's 17th century narrow streets were not built with cars in mind. Therefore, do not attempt to bring a vehicle here, as you won't be able to find parking, and if you do, it will cost you a fortune. Amsterdam is all about bike and boat travel. Two-wheeling is a way of life here. It is how Amsterdammers commute to work, go shopping, and meet a date for dinner. To be honest with you, I could go on and on about the city as there is so much more about it. However, the format of this Euro road trip series will be somewhat different, as I intend to share with you our short experiences at every stop we make, without necessarily taking a deep dive into its history or famous landmarks. With that said, Amsterdam turned out to be our first and last stop on this road trip, as we had to drop off the car and catch our flight back from here. In total, we had about a day day to explore. It was my first time here, and right away I knew that at some point I'll be coming back to see more of it. Because of limited time here, we decided to just walk around different neighborhoods and consume as much of Amsterdam as we possibly could. The internet was crazy about this fish stand, and specifically herring. Now, I'm a huge fan of pickled herring and had to see what was the hype all about. Flans Hallenhandel is a little hut near the flower market that sells different types of smoked, pickled, and fried fish. We got some of their signature snacks to try.
Not bad. Thoughts?
My dad's is better. My dad makes better pickled herring. Yeah. After we shopped for some tulips and dove into the night Amsterdam, the city became alive with energy and had a very unique atmosphere. The evening was a very good time to take in Amsterdam's beauty. The canals lined with lights provided an enchanting experience. Whether you take a romantic cruise along the water or just wander the narrow cobblestone streets, I promise you, your evening experience in Amsterdam will be a memorable one. Driving towards Belgium now. In Belgium, we're planning to do 3 cities. So I'm planning to hit Bruges, Ghent, and Brussels. And today, I think we're gonna stay in the beautiful city of Ghent. It takes about 2.5 hours from Amsterdam to hit Bruges. So we're just on the way, hoping for good weather. It looks a bit cloudy, but we'll report back from there. Brugge, also known as Bruges, is a charming ancient town in the northwest of Belgium. It is the capital of West Flanders province and UNESCO World Heritage Site. Due to its picturesque and well-preserved medieval architecture, Bruges has been on the radars of many visitors for the past few decades. Similar to Amsterdam, it is known for its canals, cobblestone streets, and Baroque buildings. However, I must say, Bruges has its own unique, somewhat Gothic charm to it. It is rich of history and cultural attractions. Bruges was founded in the early Middle Ages, specifically in 1128. It was once an important trading center and one of the most powerful cities in the region. In fact, it was the economic center of the Duchy of Burgundy. In 1277, Bruges was destroyed by the French, but rebuilt short after. Today, it is a picturesque city with one of the main attractions called the Markt, a cobblestone square surrounded by tall, beautiful buildings including the City Hall and the iconic Balfour. We arrived here after about 3-hour drive from Amsterdam. We are starting our Belgium adventure from beautiful town of Bruges, which is the northern town on the banks of North Sea actually, so it's a bit chilly here. First impressions are mixed. It's extremely beautiful, but probably that's the reason why it's so touristy and pricey. But overall, it's fine. We want to check out the canals here, so we're gonna take the boat tour and see what it's all about. There are 3 main canals here which all lead to the same port called Zeebrugge. These small canals run through the town like veins, lined with beautiful buildings, facades, bridges, gardens and churches. Not surprisingly, they've become city's main attraction, with numerous boats charting its waters. As a result, taking one of these will come with a cost, and I'm not talking solely about the ticket price, but expect to spend some time waiting in line. Been waiting half an hour now. Maybe not the best idea to come on the weekend in the afternoon.
but staying optimistic. Hopefully it delivers.
And once you get on a boat, it will feel somewhat like a can of sardines. But don't get me wrong, it is still an amazing experience if you haven't done it before. But
maybe rent a private boat or sit somewhere in front.
And just to summarize, overall our boat ride through Bruges canals was a good experience, especially because it allows you to see the city in a short period of time. Bruges is also known for its food. It has a wide range of restaurants, cafes and pubs serving all kinds of dishes. The popular go-to is a weird combination of mussels and fries. Please be careful not to fall into touristy traps around the market square, where they will charge you a hefty check for a very average dish. And if that is not a surprise, discovering that lots of the chocolate that they sell here isn't made in Bruges was somewhat disappointing. To combat this issue, municipality has designed a special logo to spot the stores that sell domestic authentic chocolate. Look for the cacao pot framed by two swans. Also, try this cone-shaped Belgian candy called Cabardon, which is a popular local delicacy here.
Did you get it on video?
No.
Overall, Bruges was a good introduction to Belgium, a beautiful historic city with rich culture and amazing architecture. Our short visit here felt satisfying, and after picking up some desserts, we headed towards our next stop, Bruges' cousin, a beautiful city of Ghent. Less than an hour drive south from Bruges lies the charming town of Ghent. Capital of East Flanders, it is a major cultural center and home to a variety of museums and historic monuments. One of such is a famous belfry with the sculpture of a spitting fire dragon on top. The legend states that one night people of Ghent stole it from the top of the Saint Donation Cathedral in the rival city of Bruges, and it was brought to Bruges by Baldwin IX, who was the leader of the Fourth Crusade. He was coronated in Constantinople, modern Istanbul, and became an emperor of Roman Empire. He ordered to take the dragon from the iconic Hagia Sophia and bring it to Bruges. But I digress a little. The moral of the story is, despite Bruges and Ghent are fairly similar in many aspects, they have been rival cities for centuries. It has largely to do with access to the North Sea and the infamous canals, which nowadays are major landmarks of both towns. But don't let me bore you with another history lesson, and let's jump right back to Ghent. Because of the time restriction, we decided to pick one landmark here to visit. The choice fell on the 12th century medieval Gravestein Castle. The castle was originally built by Philip of Alsace in 1180 on mount overlooking the city. It was then used as a prison and garrison from 16th century onward. The Gravestein was eventually abandoned in the 19th century and fell into disrepair. In 1879 it was purchased by Belgian government and restored to its former glory, becoming one of the most iconic landmarks of Ghent and, as a result, a major tourist attraction. The Gravestein is a great example of medieval architecture and is made up of a number of buildings, each with its own design. The main building is an impressive watchtower. It is surrounded by a curtain wall which is defended by a number of towers and a drawbridge. Inside you can explore the various chambers and courtyards. There's also a museum featuring exhibits on the history of Ghent and its people. It contains a number of artifacts that were once used to defend the castle.
The cool fact about Gravestein Castle is that it's never been taken by anyone, any armies, except for one time, and it was actually done by the students, the local students from Ghent. They were protesting against the rise of prices of beer. They went from like 3 francs to 4 francs in 1950, around 1950, 1949, I think. And so they came here, and at the time there was only one security guard protecting the castle, so they locked him up downstairs and demanded that authorities actually bring down the prices of the beer. The attempt was obviously unsuccessful. I think they got arrested, and yeah, that's a funny, cool fact that is associated with this castle.
The Gravestein Castle is a remarkable reminder of the past, and our visit here felt extremely educational and satisfying. But What is it about Ghent that makes it different? Well, Ghent is the largest university town of Flanders and is home to a vibrant student community that totals to almost a quarter of city's population. This fact makes Ghent a unique laid-back place where you can enjoy all the Belgian goodies without having to deal with excessive crowds of tourists.
Must say so far Belgium's been very impressive. Especially Ghent, a very old medieval town. Beautiful evening here. Definitely if you're going to Bruges, stop by here. It's on the way to Brussels, kind of like in between. People normally don't talk about Ghent, but I would highly recommend you stay there.
The main areas of focus are Krasli and Kurilay quarters, where you can pick up some of the local snacks, a few cold ones, and enjoy your time by the canal. Honestly, we love spending our time here.
Can never go wrong with fries.
In fact, throughout the series, I will choose one place per episode as my personal recommendation. And as you have may guessed already, the city of Ghent is my first recommendation.
Good morning from beautiful Ghent. We are going to our last city today in Belgium, which is the capital, Brussels. So I'm very excited to try some waffles and walk around Brussels. But the big goal today is to reach to our first country on the list, which is Luxembourg. We're gonna stay tonight in the mountains in the Luxembourg, northern part. But Belgium's been absolutely amazing, absolutely great, and Ghent really impressed.
Our last planned stop in Belgium was its capital and the largest city of Brussels. It is a vibrant and cosmopolitan place that is home to many people from all walks of life. Brussels also happens to be a capital of Europe and home to EU Parliament. Some say it was chosen due to its geographical location, being about halfway between France and Germany, the two countries whose rivalry played a role to many conflicts and whose reconciliation paved the way to European integration. Brussels is home to some of the most famous landmarks in Belgium, including the Atomium, a unique building that looks like Atom, and the Grand Place. Due to limited time, we chose the latter one and headed directly into the heart of it. The Grand Place, or as the locals call it, Grote Markt, is the central square surrounded by opulent Baroque guild halls, including the City Hall and King's Household.
I must confess, Belgium in terms of architecture is just stunning. The details on the buildings are incredible. I'm at the Grand Square right now, and it's just abundance of architectural masterpiece here. It's just breathtaking.
And in case you were wondering, Emily approved it as well. In addition to impressive architecture, Brussels is also home to some of the best cuisine in Belgium. Some even call it a country's gastronomic paradise. And for that reason, we thought, why don't we try waffles and mussels in Brussels? All jokes aside, the waffles here were top-notch, and the mussels could have been better. We also checked out the infamous Delirium Bar, which made Guinness World Record list for servicing the most varieties of beers at whopping 2004 kinds. We saw a little bronze boy urinate into a fountain basin, walked around Brussels arcade galleries and its narrow streets, before jumping into our V-Dub and heading towards the first country on the bucket list, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. But that's a whole nother story.